Good morning, everyone. Today's devotion comes from John 21, verses 15 through to 19. And this is what it says. When they'd finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," he said. "You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Again Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." The third time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, "Do you love me?" He said, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my sheep. I tell you the truth. When you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, "Follow me." The risen Jesus, the Son of God who holds the keys of death and Hades, who was given all authority in heaven and earth, is having a heart-to-heart with Peter right there on a beach. And Jesus wants to talk about what had happened with his heart. Because 3 times he asked Peter, "Do you love me?" Clearly this upset Peter, as we see in verse 17. So why does Jesus keep asking Peter this question? Well, the answer is found in John 18, verses 15 to 27. And you may well remember the night that Jesus was arrested, only hours before his crucifixion. Peter was in the courtyard of the high priest's residence, just outside where Jesus was being interrogated. And Peter, in that courtyard, was warming himself by a charcoal fire. And in that courtyard, sadly, just as Jesus predicted, Peter denied knowing Jesus, not just once, but 3 times. How many times did Jesus ask Peter if he loved him? That's right, as we've already said, 3. I think Peter understood this connection between the present fire on that beach and that present morning, compared to the high priest's residence in the courtyard there. There was a fire, and it was on a morning, and it was when the rooster crowed, just as Jesus predicted. That morning, when Peter's shame hung heavy around his neck. This is a part of why he was grieved in verse 17. Maybe upon realizing what was happening, Peter told himself, "Jesus wants to talk about what happened with my heart." And this morning, Jesus, the resurrected Saviour, wants to talk with us about our hearts. The resurrected Christ, through his Spirit, wants to see our past through his lens. He wants us to acknowledge the fact that, like Peter, there may be times we've walked in fear and not in faith. Peter's denial of Jesus was not unique, as all of us have done the same thing, maybe under different circumstances to Peter, but the heart, the human heart, is still the same. So in light of Peter's past failures, and in light of temptations that may trip him up, we find that Jesus asked the most important question that God asks us. Do you love me? Jesus, of course, knows the answer, but it's Peter who needs this conversation to bring healing to his heart. Maybe this morning we also need this question to be put to us. And the resurrected Jesus still asks it. In fact, many, many times throughout the day, as we are enticed by the world's pleasures and possessions, as we're tempted by the call of fleshly prestige, position, and power, Jesus is always asking us, do you love me? Let us not forget our hearts are made for God. And Jesus knows our heart just like he knew Peter's. He knew that in spite of Peter's struggles, Peter truly loved him. The grace of God changed him and set him on a new path. To be bold for Jesus, full of faith, and trusting God to use him mightily. If Jesus did it for Peter, he can do the same for us. As the old song says, be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. I am not afraid. I am not dismayed, because I'm walking in faith and victory. God bless you all, and have a faith-filled, victorious weekend. I will see you next week.